You're watching WAFF 48 News on your side with Margot Gray, Chief Meteorologist Brad Travis, and Sports with Carl Prater. WAFF 48 News at 10 starts now.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight, a federal lawsuit is naming names and calling out the city of Decatur for bad policing. It comes after the shooting death of Steve Perkins. The wrongful death lawsuit claims the homeowner's civil rights were violated the night two men in a tow truck showed up to his Decatur home with officers in tow. WAFF 48's Matthew King looked through that lengthy document tonight. Matthew, the Perkins family's attorney, laid out what they believe led to the shooting and explicitly named the officers involved before the city released that information.
Yeah, well, Margot, it certainly pulls the curtain back on this case. Now knowing the officers involved, up until now, we've only had the claims from the officers' original statement and video provided by neighbors from that night. Now we have a lawsuit presenting more to this story. Perkins family attorney Lee Merritt now taking the city of Decatur to court.
We believe that what happened to Mr. Perkins is a national tragedy.
The lawsuit claims two tow truck drivers identified as Caleb Combs and Richie Brady with All-Star Recovery entered an agreement with 4 Decatur police officers to attempt a repossession on Perkins' property. Merritt identified the 4 officers as Bailey Marquette, Christopher McAdam, Joey Williams, and Vance Summers.
That gives the community an opportunity to say, I know this person, I have additional information that may be helpful in the litigation, and that's what we anticipate will come out.
The lawsuit goes on to claim Officer Marquette was the officer who fired the shots killing Perkins.
Police, kill me!
Merritt says the purpose of the lawsuit is to seek justice through the changing of police policies and financial means.
There is no numeric amount that will do justice for this family. And we do intend to pursue an outcome that will be crippling for the city of Decatur.
Members of the community say this step will go a long way in their fight against the city.
Most of the time dealing with businesses and city officials, the only way you get their attention is in their pockets. And not that this lawsuit would bring Stephen back, but it would be a form of holding the city accountable for the actions in the murder of Steve Perkins.
Now, 3 of the 4 officers identified in that suit were fired from the city last week, with the other suspended. They have until this Thursday to appeal that decision. Meantime, it's important to note no one's been charged with a crime for the shooting, as the criminal investigation is still ongoing.
All right, thank you, Matthew. A December night complete with chilly temperatures. Brad, at least we've had plenty of sunshine to go with it.
We have. We had a few of those high thin clouds come in, make for a beautiful sunset. The clouds are going to be a little thicker about the same time tomorrow evening. There's a weak disturbance coming through, but we continue to monitor the weekend. There's an area low pressure that's going to be out in the Gulf of Mexico, and one of the forecast guidance continues to have it still too far to the south to bring us any significant rain. Another one says, hey, expect some scattered light to moderate showers. We're going to talk more about this coming up in a few minutes, but here's how it looks right now. We've got temperatures, as you mentioned, on the chilly side. It's 39 in Huntsville. We've got other numbers that are a little bit colder than that out there. Over the next 12 hours, we're going to drop very close to freezing, and we may see some patchy frost overnight tonight. I don't think it's going to be as bad as it has been the last few days. 34 now in Huntsville, 33 in Decatur, 39 up in Fayetteville, and here's that 3-day forecast. Pretty typical of this time of year, but things start changing over the weekend.
They certainly do. Well, a former Franklin County bus driver pleaded guilty to reckless endangerment from the day she drove students to school. Rhonda Barksdale was accused of driving under the influence with 40 students on board. A student's mother, Heather Malone, saw Barksdale swerving in and out of the lane September of 2022 and decided to flag her down and block the bus. Malone says she thought it was a medical emergency at the time until she quickly realized that Barksdale was intoxicated. Barksdale will serve a year in a split sentence on 6 counts. She will only spend 6 months in jail. Malone says the faces of those 40 students she saw when she jumped onto the bus that day will haunt her forever.
I'm bothered with the sentencing. I feel like it wasn't enough, but I guess justice was served for 6 of those kids out of 40. I feel like that was not justifiable to 40 different children for only 6 to be accounted for in her sentencing.
By the way, Barksdale will also have 2 years of probation. She begins her sentence on January 9th. Well, a man accused of attempted murder is having a competency trial in Lauderdale County. And investigators say Kyle Seeley brutally attacked 6 of his family members in May of 2021. Now, a jury will determine whether Seeley is competent to stand trial. In the trial today, both the prosecution and the defense rested their case, but not before they brought several witnesses to the stand, including Seeley's mother and father, who were attacked that day. Our partners at the Times Daily report Pam Seeley took the stand and described how black her son's eyes were. She says it felt like she was not looking into the eyes of her own son. Prosecutors say closing arguments will begin tomorrow morning. All right, here's one you don't hear every day. The Huntsville Crime Stoppers are looking for a man who they say is taking pictures up women's skirts at the Jones Valley Target and could be doing it around town. Take a good look right here at your screen. This is the man Huntsville police are looking for tonight. They say he closely follows women around the store and then takes pictures up their skirts without their knowledge. Police believe he drives a black Nissan Altima. If you know this man, call police right away. A Jackson County man is behind bars tonight accused of shooting and killing a man from Pisgah. Joshua Goolsby is charged with murder. Deputies say he shot and killed a 44-year-old man at a home on County Road 88. He's being held in the Jackson County Jail tonight without bond. Jackson County Sheriff Rocky Harnan says it happened around 9 last night. Upon arrival, the 44-year-old man was found inside the home with multiple gunshot wounds. The victim was transported to the hospital where he later died. Sheriff Harnan says investigators aren't sure if or how Goolsby and the victim knew each other, but he says investigators were on scene until 6 this morning to ensure no stones were left unturned at the crime scene.
Just following up on any leads we get based on our preliminary investigation. We following up on everything that we can possibly do, taking witness statements, things such as that, photographs, diagrams, all those kind of things that you need in a murder investigation.
Sheriff Harnan says he expects the identity of the victim to be released in the coming days. Well, a mother who says her son's body was returned for burial without a heart from prison is expected to be in Montgomery tomorrow. She will attend a joint legislative prison oversight committee meeting. Her 43-year-old son, Brandon Dotson, was found dead in November in the Ventress Correctional Facility in Barber County. Last week, we told you the lawsuit alleges wrongful death based on prison officials failing to protect Dotson, ignoring his medical needs, and then mishandling his corpse. The lawsuit says Dotson's body was not released to the family until 5 days after his death, and when the family conducted its own independent autopsy, Dotson's body was missing his heart. The suit claims Dotson was either the target of violence or had access to drugs in the facility. Of course, we will bring you details from tomorrow's meeting, I should say. Well, there was an empty chair at tonight's Huntsville City School Board meeting. Board President Ryan Renaud was not there. We wanted to ask him questions now that an official ethics complaint has been filed against him. Former Huntsville City Schools spokesperson Keith Ward has filed a complaint with the state's Ethics Commission against Ryan Renaud. The complaint stems from a vote Renaud took part in back in 2021. Now, the complaint alleges Renaud voted on a nepotism rule change, which was convenient at the time since his fiance was a teacher at Morris Elementary School. Before the rule change, board members were not allowed to have immediate family members within the school district. Ward believes Renaud should have recused himself. The second complaint goes back to December 2022, when Renaud allegedly emailed a Morris Elementary parent and discussed confidential information about the principal. Renaud allegedly told the parent the principal was creating a toxic work environment. Ward says ethics policies are in place for a reason.
The nepotism vote was one of the issues. Basically, it was occurring just a mere 3 months before his wedding date. So in order for her to stay on the school payroll, they would have to change and drop that nepotism policy requirement for board members. So I think it was more than a coincidence that that policy was recommended for a change and came up for a vote.
The Alabama Ethics Commission has 180 days to determine if the complaints have probable cause. Staying with Huntsville City Schools tonight, the district plans to roll out a new virtual and hybrid school option next school year. Artemis Academy will offer K-12 students the flexibility to learn virtually while also having the ability to receive additional support in person. Students in Artemis Academy will still be able to participate in athletics, band, choir, and extracurriculars for the school they are zoned for. Artemis Academy will be based at Blossomwood Elementary and Lee High School campuses for the 2024-2025 school year. Applications to enroll will open in February. Well, next at 10, sharp divisions are starting to show between Israel and U.S. leaders, with mounting casualties and no clear future plans after the war. And busy shopping centers attract buyers and maybe others looking for an opportunity to do something wrong. A warning from police tonight and what they plan to do to keep you safe. President Joe Biden and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu are trading tough talk about plans for a post-war Gaza. Speaking at a Democratic fundraiser tonight, Biden said Israel is starting to lose support. Emily Schmidt has more.
Nearly 2 months after the leaders of the U.S. and Israel met to show unity, criticism has slipped into the commentary. Here's what President Biden said at a Hanukkah reception Monday after pledging to continue military assistance to Israel.
But we have to be careful. They have to be careful. The whole world's public opinion can shift overnight. We can't let that happen.
Tuesday, the president told Democratic donors Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu must change, even if the Israeli government opposes a two-state solution. Netanyahu admitted there is disagreement, though a senior advisor says it's important to put the disagreement into context.
We agree on the need to defeat Hamas, that Israel is within its right and within its obligation to our people to destroy Hamas, that we have to see a new situation in the Gaza Strip.
The current situation is drawing critics of a growing humanitarian crisis. A Doctors Without Borders official says living conditions can barely be described as such.
People are displaced once, twice, sometimes more. They just don't know where to go anymore.
U.S. officials say the U.S. is pressuring Israel to open up the Kerem Shalom border crossing to allow more aid. The first trucks were inspected Tuesday, but still can't go directly to Gaza.
For us to be able to get in with anywhere near the level of humanitarian assistance that is needed, we need a ceasefire. We need an end to the fighting.
The IDF continues to hand out videos showing its fight against Hamas. A White House official says Wednesday Biden will meet with family members of American hostages held by Hamas, a reminder of shared interests despite differing views. I'm Emily Schmidt reporting.
Back in the Valley this holiday season, you can expect to see more officers around busy shopping centers. Huntsville police will be stationed outside a major shopping area like Bridge Street Town Center for the next couple of weeks. Officers say the purpose of this is to keep additional eyes out for shoplifters during the busiest shopping hours and in general add another layer of safety for shoppers. But police aren't actually on their normal shifts during this time. Lieutenant Grady Thigpen explains how it works.
Officers come in for extra duty, and those are 5-hour increments, and they work around the shopping business areas, and you'll see those officers more frequently. And they're not out answering calls per se, they're out there, taking care of us as we're shopping.
This will go through the end of the busy holiday shopping season. All right, if you drive by or travel near the new Elkmont Elementary School, you may want to start your morning commute a little earlier. That's because crews will start working on a project to add a turn lane on Highway 127 in front of the school. Lane closures will begin tomorrow morning at 7. Work will continue from 7 until 4 Monday through Friday until the end of February. So this will stick around for a while. You're asked to use caution while driving in that area. All right, let's turn to a remarkable story of survival in Tennessee after a powerful tornado sent a baby flying in the air over the weekend. The mother is sharing where she found her baby alive. 22-year-old Sydney Moore said she was in a bedroom of her trailer with her 1-year-old when she heard the wind howling. She ran and laid across her son when the roof blew off that trailer. At the same time, in the front room, the kid's father says he saw the tornado funnel down on top of them. He hurled himself to grab their 4-month-old baby asleep in the bassinet, but the baby got spun up and thrown out by the tornado.
And I just remember asking him, "Where's my baby?" And he said he didn't know. He found him laying in a tree, like somebody placed him in this tree. Like, I don't know how we survived.
How do you think you survived it?
It had to have been God.
Miraculously, the whole family survived.
Now, your first alert weather with Chief Meteorologist Brad Travis.
Well, it's a chilly night out there. Temperatures in the 30s. We're going to fall into the low 30s overnight tonight. 39 here at this right by the river here in Decatur. Things are quiet out there. We've got a mostly clear sky, but there are some high clouds out there. Out of Pryor Field, 33 already. Huntsville, 39. Fort Payne, 31. Haleyville, 31. So we're around freezing in some spots. There will be patchy frost again overnight tonight. So here's the next 12 hours through the overnight hours. Here's what you're missing out on if you're going to bed here after the newscast, or maybe after Jimmy Fallon. 35 at 8 a.m., 54 by 11 a.m. tomorrow. Nice day tomorrow, but more of a northerly wind, and that's going to reinforce the drier air that's in place, and it's also going to reinforce some clouds coming in late in the day. 33 on average tonight. Some of our larger cities, patchy frost, so not as patchy, not as widespread, I should say, as it has been the last few days. And tomorrow, 57, which is normal for December. Notice the clouds here. They're starting to break up, and where we have patches in the clouds, that's where we're most likely to see a little bit of frost out there. And we've got this weak disturbance kind of passing through, and as it does so, it's producing a little bit of snow there in northern Kansas, northern Missouri, and then they are going to get a significant snowstorm out of this as we get in Wednesday into Thursday. And that's going to be the energy coming in for our weekend. And I'm going to talk more about that in just a second, but daily rain chances here with your rain on the roof Saturday night into Sunday, but don't be surprised if we start adding to the percentage here chance for Sunday as well. And the main challenge is there's two pieces of energy we're talking about. One's coming in at an upper level low, and the other one's going to be this surface low that's going to be developing down here south of Tallahassee. This is going to be Saturday around 5:30. So as the upper level energy comes in, it's going to enhance the chance for some showers here in northwest Alabama overnight into Sunday morning. But in the meantime, this big area low pressure is going to be cranking out just to the southeast of Savannah by Sunday afternoon. Here we are just before the noon hour, so we're kind of between both of these storm systems, and they really have to phase just right for us to get some significant rain. But as we get into Sunday, this is a reason to watch why we could increase the chance Sunday. If this area low pressure is a little bit closer, there's going to be some wraparound moisture, and this is going to be a cold rain with temperatures probably falling into the 30s. Here's your 7-day forecast. I'll show you the next 3 days in just a second, so hang on. 57, 59, and 58. So pretty normal for this time of year, and that's pretty much the way it's going to play out over the next 10 days as we see Saturday and Sunday. It'd be nice to get a rain-free weekend, though, wouldn't it?
It would, because people have projects to do still.
I know. I got a lot of them. I've kind of switched to indoor projects. Painting, tile, walls, things like that.
You got to stay busy.
Yeah.
Got to stay busy.
Yeah. So what do you, any
this
projects
weekend?
You got going on?
No projects for me, but I will be busy. I'll go watch Mean Girls this weekend and hang out with family.
All
so
right.
yeah, it should be a good time. I will be inside.
Hockey this weekend too.
No projects.
There you go.
All righty. Well, who doesn't have a good time when it comes to pancakes when they're involved? We'll show you the fun happening in Decatur for everyone. Covering your community now, first responders in Decatur are celebrating people with special needs and their families. Today, they hosted the second annual Special Needs Pancake Party. There was all kinds of fun activities. The local McDonald's donated more than 1,200 pancakes, butter, and the syrup, of course. Decatur Fire and Rescue Lieutenant Brandon Sibley says this event is a way to give back to the community outside of being a first responder.
Our fire chief, he told me when I came on as the public relations and public education officer, he said, hey, let's find something to get involved with in the community and really give back outside of the first responder community. And so the special needs community just kept coming up, and it was something that we felt like we could focus on and make better, and that's just been our mission the last 2 years.
And it's a great way to do it. He says they've had more than 700 participants within the last 2 years between the pancake party and their Halloween event.
Get ready for a party in Huntsville, North Alabama. We have a final preview of Auburn's men's basketball contest in the Valley tomorrow night. Next.
You're watching 48 Sports, sponsored by Hiley Mazda of Huntsville, home of the Mazda CX-50.
Got a little high school basketball tonight over in Bucks Country. Buckhorn hosting Grissom. This was a back and forth game for the most part. Tigers led most of the contest. Look at Landon Williams rising up with that dunk off the lob. Buckhorn would fight back. Jeremiah Wilson rising and firing later in this contest for three. Bucks would trail by actually 2 with under 10 seconds to play, but look at Fred Derrick would step to the line, drain 2 free throws to win the game for Buckhorn, 55-54. Good run out there at Buckhorn. Hey, welcome in, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Look, good luck trying to grab a ticket to tomorrow night's Auburn basketball game here in the Valley. Sold out for the Tigers' neutral site game against UNC Asheville. Tip-off set for 7. Inside Probst Arena at the Von Braun Center. Hey, UNC Asheville actually won their league. They played in the Big South Conference a year ago. Bruce Pearl did say today during his press conference that the Bulldogs aren't quite as good as last season's team, but as you would imagine, and if you love college basketball and watch non-conference basketball so far this season, anything and everything could potentially happen. So UNC Asheville is definitely a dangerous team. One thing is certain, Auburn fans will make the VBC, the Tigers, home away from Neville Arena Wednesday night.
You get to bring the campus to them. And the same thing in Huntsville. We've got unbelievable fan base in Huntsville. You know, Huntsville's the one part of the state which you get a feel like it's more 50-50 when it comes to Auburn and Alabama and Huntsville than you do almost anywhere else. Because, you know, with the exception of maybe down in LA, in lower Alabama here, where Auburn has got a little bit more than Alabama, everywhere else is Roll Tide. Up there, we got a fighting chance in Huntsville. So I've been trying to get there to reward our fan base up there.
Look at Coach Pearl out there kind of, giving the forecast of Alabama and Auburn fans here in the Valley. I'm not mad at it. Bulldogs of Alabama A&M, the men's basketball team, back inside the Special Events Center tomorrow night as well. They're hosting UAB. Bulldogs off to a tough start. They're 1-8 in the non-conference portion of their schedule. Hey, the Blazers with a little hometown flavor on their roster, and former Mae Jemison standout Tony and Grissom standout Ephraim Butta Johnson. Tip-off for that contest tomorrow night at 7 as well. So you got the Auburn Tigers over at the VBC at 7. Butter. Yeah, man.
Smooth like butter.
That's it.
But yeah, Brad, you called it that Bruce is a little busy, not just focused on the game.
Recruiting up here, I think.
Yeah.
He was at Buckhorn High's a game earlier tonight. There's a player in particular he probably may have been tuning in.
Keeping an eye on.
He probably doesn't have to drive that I-65 though, does he? He's probably got a little private corporate jet.
I was about to say he probably just flew flowing up here.
A little easy for him to get around.
Yeah, not mad at it, right?
And the weather was perfect for it.
The weather was perfect. I mean, this is typical December weather here. I mean, this is what it usually is when you check the statistics. We usually don't have a lot of severe weather, but that's the way it's going right now. Saturday, Sunday, our next chance for rain, but this is going to be cold rain showers if it does come together, and if so, we'll probably have to drop those temperatures into the upper 40s for Sunday. So something worth watching over the next 10 days, but those temperatures, they don't change much at all.
You know what? Thank you. I didn't have any rain Fridays for high school football.
You're welcome.
Thank you, sir.
You got lucky. Have a good night.